is going to be a tremendous, tremendous topic, and I am very excited.
He's already here. He's here.
Look at that. I am excited to have him with us. Go ahead and give us a brief introduction on yourself, my friend.
Good. Hey, how are you guys? Glad
Pretty
to be
good,
on the
actually.
show. Dr. Ravi Singh.
So, Dr. Ravi, you have a great background and a great story. Tell me an IQ about this, because every Tuesday before we do this show, I always send IQ a little of a synopsis of our guests. And he just wrote back one word to me after he read your synopsis. Wow. Tell us about all this, my friend.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I don't know if it's wow or not wow. I've just had a very eventful life. Born and raised in Chicago, grew up out here in the United States. To your audience who might not be able to see me, I'm a red turban Republican, born and raised in the United States. My parents immigrated from India, and went to military academy. First seek to enter the U.S. military academy with a turban. I'm dating myself. Signed by President Ronald Reagan, and graduate as a second lieutenant. Graduated from Valparaiso University on a golf scholarship, Lutheran school, great. I was 98% Caucasian, 2% minority, became student body president, captain the NCAA Division I golf team, did my master's degree at Northwestern University, and for the love of God, worked in Illinois state politics, but under the Republican administration at that time, ran for office at the age of 25, and then eventually started one of the largest .coms in America called electionmall.com, doing over 7,000 political campaigns. And then in 2014, after running that for 14 years, in 14 days, I lost my company underneath the Obama administration, accusing me of election conspiracy. Our company had done prestigious websites all the way to Donald Trump's first website in 2012, and we had done several conservative right movements across the country, and those have been a very hellish last 7 years. And now, in conclusion, January 11th, I will be sentenced to 1 year in federal prison in Pensacola, being accused of conspiracy against the United States of America.
James, this gentleman proves my point. You have no justice. Admit it and grovel.
IQ Al Rizzoli, on several occasions, Ravi, has said that the United States has no justice system. And after hearing your story when we had you on the Roku TV program last week, and now hearing it again today, I kind of agree with IQ.
It is a hard pill to swallow. Just counting down the days, it's been very, very difficult to even fathom for a non-violent crime in the height of COVID, while federal judges are releasing prisoners in democratic state. Democrat, I am now being sentenced, and after being resentenced twice, they had me come back twice because of a procedural error. So they sentenced me on November 9th, then they sentenced me again on November 21st. Unheard of. And I'm now faced with this 1 year and a day, and my only help is the president, where he could help me out. But that's it, and that's a Hail Mary.
We have got a tremendous guest with us today. Ravi joins us here on our broadcast. And IQ, I know you've probably got some questions for our guest. Jump in there, my friend.
Well, considering that he is a Sikh from India, the family, it's amazing they allowed you to be with the turban. Really, I'm surprised. But I mean, this is the best thing that could have happened, because this is part of your religious upbringing. You can't do without it. It's impossible. Am I right or am I wrong?
That's correct. The turban and the beard make me more American, as my parents have said. They have said that Sikhs believe very firmly that all religions are equal in the eyes of God, and most importantly, that we have a strong pride and service, a public service, to serve our nation, irregardless, Sikhs are not just limited to India. 1/3 of the British colonial army were Sikhs serving around the world. So Sikhs have a big commitment to serve a righteous government in this lifetime. So your IQ is exactly correct. I wear this turban because I represent the values of a Sikh before I represent the values of Dr. Ravi Singh.
So what are you going to do in defense of yourself?
I've defended myself for 7 years. I've spent over $2 million out of my own pocket, which I'll never see again. I have had to start all over. My Indian parents told me go to back to school. I got another master's, a PhD. I have rebuilt and upgraded myself to Ravi 4.0 just because I know that there's no other option. I know to be a patriot in this country, God only tests those that he believes who will be able to handle it. I'm not shaken by what the events have occurred, but I am traumatized by them. And I do believe that some good will come out of this. I don't know how. Maybe your listeners will be inspired. Maybe they will raise their voices against the injustice that is happening against our president, Donald J. Trump right now, and speak louder. I think it's important that we continue to raise our voice. I do believe in miracles, and I do believe that things change when you tell the truth.
Not always, not in America today. With all due respect, look, I'm the outsider looking in. I live in Europe. I live in Europe, but my dedication is for America. I've always loved America. By the way, I told James, I have applied for a green card. So, I'm in the process of becoming legal, by the way. Not illegal, legal. This is why when somebody talks to me about illegal, I shut them down completely.
You're coming in the front door.
Absolutely. I spent $10,000 over 2 years waiting. And some jackass comes from Mexico, comes in, and they give him more freedoms, more rights than I have. Forget it. Not where I come from. That's it. What do you think will happen? Now Biden is definitely the president, according to the latest reports. Am I right or am I wrong?
Yes, the Electoral College has certified him. He is definitely going to be the president.
Yeah. What do you think the future will hold? Short, by the way, because I don't believe he will last 6 months.
You're asking me? I think Biden. First of all, the presidency of the United States is one of the greatest positions in the world. I don't think that anyone becomes president without some kind of anointment. I really do. I think God chooses our world leaders, and I think, and especially in a country such as America, I really do. In any country where we have "In God We Trust," and I always remind my Christian friends, it's not just referencing Christianity, it's "In God We Trust." They were very clear.
Yes, very clear about
every day. Indians, and not just Indians from India, but Native American Indians. But this is the beauty of our country, and the President of the United States is such a powerful position. It is such a key position that we have, unfortunately, in the last several years, gone to some isms, and I talked about it previously, specifically Twitterism, where we pass judgment on our world leaders, and we have to look at the non-politics of it. Now, we hope and we pray, and that's all we can do as citizens, that the President of the United States will not judge us by the color of our party skin, but by the judgment of us as citizens and our actions and treat us and take care of us as citizens. And I do believe that when the President of the United States, as a political scientist, as someone who's got a master's degree in that the Constitution does make it clear that they don't support just Democrats when Biden gets elected. He'll support all Americans, and they pledge that oath. I do believe that Donald Trump has done that as president, despite what everyone says, and that's why they all make fun of me. They're saying, no, he's a racist. How can you support him? I said, how can he be a racist when I love him?
They can't answer that. He's not a racist. You know that.
I mean, how can the President of the United States be someone when his own grandchildren are Jewish? I just don't understand this. I mean, he has a kosher kitchen in his apartment in New York. I mean, the man would not be racist if he did, if he did not have these things. I know he's not racist because I know that as a supporter of the president, I know what he has stood for and done for this country. And believe it or not, trust me, when his administration's done, I bet you when you count all the minorities that he's appointed in his office, it'll be greater than any other president.
I agree with you 100%. But you are dealing with irrational human beings. I've always said that at least 47% of the American people, the voting people, are idiots, total morons. I don't care. This is not racism. This is actual fact. As you said, how can you call him a racist? First, he doesn't say anything racist, ever. When he called shitholes country, they were shithole country. I mean, they are shithole country.
Yes.
Yemen is shithole country. Sudan is a shithole country. The ones that he mentioned are terrorist states. So, but the leftists are always holier than everybody else. And this is where I'm worried. Biden is only the key who is going to allow Kamala Harris to be president. He is not going to last half a year. I don't honestly think so. I don't think he will last half a year.
Well, I think it's more important that we all realize what has happened in this election. And I think we all hope that we can get through these next 4 years without too much dialing back some of the successes of this president. That's what I think that's most important. And what scares me the most is what's happening on social media when I start seeing Twitter labeling things now, YouTube labeling things. Over 8,000 videos where people reported election fraud scenarios. 8,000 of those channels were taken down by YouTube.
But that's what's happening. Yeah, of course, this is fascism. This is communism. This is Nazism. It doesn't matter. It's under the American flag. Nonetheless, those people are literally censoring everything that the American people should have.
But you know what the greatest thing about this country is? And I know you're going to become a U.S. citizen, but the greatest thing is that our voice can never be suppressed. Even after the 7 years that I'm going through this, you see the smile on my face and the courage in my voice, because that's what being an American is. You're armed with one of the greatest gifts when you become a citizen in this country. That is the document called the Constitution of the United States. And that document gives us certain rights. And those rights, irregardless of big tech, irregardless of big media, irregardless of big government, we can stand up. And we have the confidence and the faith to actually do and defend that. And no one can take that away.
Theoretically, you're 100% correct. I said theoretically. I agree with you from the bottom of my heart that it is the American Constitution. James knows me. I am a constitutionalist, 100% guaranteed. But you are dealing with evil people with fantastic powers.
And when you find evil, you got to stand up and fight back. And I think that's what I told people. Don't get off Twitter. Don't get off social media. Fight back by your words. You know, our words are very powerful. Mahatma Gandhi was just one person, but he changed an entire country. He liberated millions. Dr. King was just one person. He liberated just by words. So we have the power, and social media gives us the ability to say it. They can suspend our accounts, they can ban our voices, they can label our what we have to say, but we don't have to agree with it.
True, but what we need is a social media which is rightist. All the others are leftist.
No, I disagree. We have to create a platform where our voices have to become louder than theirs.
How do you do that?
Because we're not engaging back, the dialogue cannot be just one-sided. We'll just create an echo chamber where we're all patting each other on the back. Yeah. Our strength in our nation lies in our diversity and our ability to be a mosaic rather than a melting pot.
You're absolutely right, but what I ask from you, how do you counter 5 of the most despicable, powerful entities in the world? And you have to fight them. How do you fight them unless you have also the voice? But they're suppressing you. That's the whole point. They're suppressing you. You need an alternative media which will let you talk.
No, I think we have to keep these medias free. They're entitled to underneath the First Amendment. You know, Section 230, we can take away that. These social media companies are like big babies right now. They're testing the waters. They're seeing how far they can push the line. We got to push back. This is a moment in history. If we don't draw the line of sand now, we create Twitter, Ritter, Fitter, Sitter, whatever it is. It's not going to change the world.
Again, we agree. The 230, I agree. No, I mean, because you understand the Constitution. You have a good background. I have a good background. Okay? The 230, I agree with you. But if Donald Trump wasn't able to implement it, Joe Biden is not going to do that.
Yeah,
because they support him.
But Donald Trump rose to office because of the internet. We know Twitter made him president. There's no doubt. He gave him a voice. And then what he said actually converted to the votes. But it gave him that platform. It was the new, soapbox of American politics. And we had seen previous presidents like Barack Obama use it, but never with their own voice. Donald Trump was the first one to really use his own social media voice, the right tone, the right sentiment, the right lingo, the right hashtag, the URL, the mention. He put it all together, and he became a master of it. But what has happened now, more so than et cetera, no longer can the president speak for himself. He needs the people, the supporters, the 75 million that supported him and vote for him now to start speaking out.
Well, I suggested they go out armed. James knows about my article. I said, no, if they have no recount, there should be no concession. And I suggested a month and a half ago that every American should go out armed to the teeth, within those who are legally armed. I'm not talking about war. I'm not talking about civil war. I'm talking about two things. You go armed, your Second Amendment. Because if your First Amendment is destroyed, which is exactly what they're doing, you lose the Second Amendment, the Third Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, and all the other amendments. With the First Amendment gone, you lose everything. That's not violence. I'm talking about asserting your rights, but nobody was doing it. Nobody. Antifa gets away with it. Black Lives Matter, they get away with it. Any comments? But they are getting away with it.
Yeah, this is what you're saying is you're entitled to your opinion, right? Voltaire said, everyone has the right to say what they want to say. And I definitely agree with the notion of being able to say what you want to say, but I might not agree with everything you're saying right now. So
you don't have to. That's we agreed. This is the beauty of the American system when it's functioning.
Exactly. And that's where I believe in the utopia of the internet, and that's where I believe so strongly in it. I mean, these 7 years have forged me to become stronger. Going through the judicial system, my case went through the Ninth Court of Appeals and went all the way, Ninth Circuit Court, went all the way onto the U.S. Supreme Court, and I fought it for that period of time. I've been under house arrest for pretrial supervision for 7 years. I haven't been able to leave the country. I haven't been able to vote. I haven't been able to engage in political activities, federal, state, or local. And they will ban me from doing that for another 4 years after the 1 year and a day that I have to serve in federal prison in Pensacola. So trust me, someone who's gone through it and someone who's a military cadet, someone who loves this country so much and was able to help influence legislation to allow Sikhs to wear the turban and Jews to wear the yarmulke. I tell you honestly, as a patriot and as an American, it saddens me, but all I can do is be on podcasts like yours and continue to share my story in the hopes that this will continue to inspire others to speak out and share this podcast with others, because that's the only way it works. Only until we engage with this very podcast, and the only way we engage with what we're saying, that is the digital applause that needs to take place. And that's the way we give kudos or recognition to what other people are saying. The like is there, The retweeting is more or less of a sharing of the information, and commenting allows us to contribute to the conversation.
You are amazing. You really are. I mean, because with all the adversity, with all the illegality, from my point of view, from what you told us, with an excellent background that you have, to be subjected to this disastrous process without an end, you are amazing. Because I would have revolted physically.
Well, I'll tell you, the revolt comes from the very simple fact of how I've been brought up, and my parents came from humble, origins, and if anyone knows Sikhs, we're big fighters on fighting against injustice, and my parents have told me, I mean, that's why they sent me to a Catholic school. That's why they sent me to a Lutheran school. They told me in order for me to understand my own faith, I had to first understand and appreciate Christianity. And more importantly, they taught me the most important thing. You are not you are not Indian. You are an American. Your religion comes from India, and your belief is Sikhism. So you're going to watch the Chicago Bears. You're going to attend the Chicago Bulls. And you are going to play American sports. And they understood the value of integrating me as a person. And when we faced adversity, even in my 40s, when this case was happening, when I was in 2014, when I was arrested and thrown in federal prison for 4 days, my mother's comments were very simple. You got to go back to school. You got to show them that you're not a dummy. You got to go get a PhD in social media. I don't care where it is. You got to go get it. And you got to show them that they made a mistake. And so even though we went from 20 plus charges, I've dropped it down to 3 felonies. But it's been a long ordeal, costly ordeal. I'm happy to see it coming to an end. But at the same time, it has made me stronger as an American and stronger in my beliefs that whatever you say has power, and you have to continue to stand up for those beliefs, because that's the only life you're given. It's not the life that you want. It's the life that you have.
Do you have any brothers and sisters like you?
Yeah, I do. I do have a great younger brother who has a JD and an MBA, and I have a younger sister who is also educated, and she has an MBA, and they live in Chicago.
And they are like you?
Yes, they are very much like me. Yes.
Wow.
My parents have done a great job.
More than a great job, honestly. They understood what America is. Very few parents today understand what America is, even if they were born in America.
No,
I congratulate you. I'm talking about personal.
I appreciate
it. This is my personal point of view.
I will share that congratulations with them. They would definitely appreciate that. They have suffered the most from this. They've aged greatly. I feel very sorry for them. The trauma behind it. As an Asian American kid, you are responsible to take care of your parents, and unfortunately, that burden now has fallen to my younger brother while I will be gone. But we take care of our parents as much as we can, and this has definitely aged them and hurt them. They have suffered greatly, but they haven't given up. They haven't given up hope. My mom still believes that the president will do something. He will somehow miraculously, come to the rescue at the last minute. And I've told her about the chances of that happening, but she continues to pray. So,
do you think Trump knows about you?
I hope so. I hope he will know about me, but we will do our best. Hopefully you guys can encourage your audience to share that. But I was on Tracy Bean's show recently, who was one of the advocates for General Flynn. I'm sure you guys know her.
Yes.
And Tracy dedicated a whole podcast for 1 hour to me. She was very gracious, and it's people like you guys who are taking the time to hear the story, share it with other people. But most importantly, I think also we're providing an alternative voice to mainstream media, and I think that's very important, because these are stories that no one wants to cover. Trust me, we've reached out to mainstream media, and I think I just break the narrative when they're saying, "What? He wears a turban, he's beard, he's Trump supporter?" No.
What is hilarious, Ravi, is we had I don't know. It was right before the Trump campaign and everything with the election. We had a woman on who represented Indians for Trump, and we had so many people that would get a hold of us. They're like, Indians really support Trump, and so yes, the your narrative.
Yeah, I break the stereotype, right? I mean, it's just it's they've painted a picture of this president so unfairly, and they've done it for so many years, and it's stuck in their heads. I mean, my parents don't think Donald Trump's a racist, and they never did. My father, in fact, said the day he walked down that escalator, he goes, that guy could become president. And I said, Dad, we did his website in 2012. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah. We even did some fundraising for him. He's just like, no way. So Donald Trump understands the power of the internet. He understands the power of social media. I think history will mark this as one of the greatest presidents of our lifetimes. And I pray to God that history will be kind to him about this end of this election process. And more importantly, I pray that our country will correct these misbehaviors so that other candidates down ballot will not suffer. And I think Donald Trump voicing these discrepancies will hopefully open up the eyes that we don't have a perfect system, but yet we try to be perfect. And just saying that we are perfect won't be good enough. We have to correct every vote, and even if there's one discrepancy, that's one discrepancy too much.
Completely.
I wish you the best.
Yes, we do. We wish you the
And
best, Ravi.
The only way you'll get off is for Donald Trump to give you a pardon.
That's it.
That's
okay. It's a clemency to be specific, but yeah, that's all it is. It just means that he says, okay, that's it, and so if you know anyone who knows the president, just tell him, please, on January 12th, please grant Dr. Ravi Singh clemency. If anyone can make that phone call for me, that's the best thing that could happen to me in the whole world.
Well, Dr. Ravi, I appreciate you being with us, and I know that we've got you. We're going to have you on with Don Mazzella here in a couple weeks because we want to try to get you as much publicity as humanly possible leading up to this thing. So before we let everybody go, I want to start with IQ. IQ, how do we get your books and get involved with what you're doing, my friend?
Well, I don't want to waste his time. His time is more important. Just Google my name, Al Rassooli, ALRASSOOLI. Back to the guest, back to Ravi.
Ravi, how do we get in touch with you and everything else?
Yeah, the best way is my website, ravisingh.com or easiercampaignguru.com. And and please, I encourage everyone to share this podcast and retweet it, reshare it, comment on it. That's the best way to really get the word out.
Yes. Well, thank you, Ravi. I appreciate it, my friend. Try to have yourself a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holiday, and we will definitely talk to you after the holidays. You, me, IQ, and Don Mazzella will chat on this program again. I appreciate it. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
Wish you well. Take care.
Definitely.
Take care.
Thank you. There they go, Dr. Ravi and IQ Al-Rassooli. And that is that. That wraps it up here from our big broadcast. And as they say all the time, it might be replay time, but go over to JiggyJaguar.com. Yes, JiggyJaguar.com.